Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla. So, if you look at the headlines of Tesla down 45% in Europe and Europe's BEV market sales is up over 50%, does that not tell us that Tesla is doomed in Europe? Well, I think you will be surprised when we look at the actual numbers, how well Tesla is actually doing despite everything that is going on. It's quite remarkable. Because despite Tesla sales are down 45% in Europe and the Model Y's inventory has been pushed to almost zero to get ready for the refreshed Model Y that has just started deliveries, the old Model Y is still the king in Europe. Who would have thought? So let's check it all out and let's dive right in. So we hear a lot from people that Tesla is doomed in Europe because of Elon's politics. Because we can see that EVs are up in Europe and Tesla sales are down 45% in January. So if you read headlines right now about Tesla, you would think Tesla is being dragged across the bottom of the sales list in Europe. But nothing could be further from the truth. Yes, Tesla is down, but there are many reasons for that. But just showing the percentage that the company is down and not showing any numbers in comparison to the competition or anything is misleading at best. But yes, BEVs are actually up in Europe, as I have been predicting all through 2024 that they would, as we are seeing the new CO2 targets taking effect. As Laraffel also made this nice chart about, and also had some great numbers about the BEV market in Europe, and we can see that in Europe, in January 2025, BEVs were 50% of the market, and trailing 12 months it was 13.9%. So we do see that BEV sales are up in January, and as he wrote, is this the stricter emission goal effect? January was surprisingly unbad for BEVs. Usually January dips sharply compared to December, but this year they were really close. I would say yes, this is exactly what I have been talking about throughout 2024, that we will see BEVs taking off in Europe now, as now the legacy automakers are once again forced to ramp up EV production to not get any fines, just like we saw with Volkswagen going basically sideways in EV sales for the last 3 years. Remember how everyone thought Volkswagen would catch up to Tesla because they rise so quickly in 2021. But that was to get above the emission targets, to not get fines, and then they have basically just stayed there ever since. And now they will likely start growing again in Europe because they are forced to. But why is Tesla then down 45% in Europe then? Is Tesla doomed? Not quite. I have tried to explain this many times, that Tesla is shifting the best-selling car in the world's production line. And like I also said last week, just 5 days downtime in the 4 factories that are building the Model Y on a global scale will mean a drop of about 140,000 units. Just 5 days, as there are 4 factories building this car, so 5 days in downtime would mean 20 days combined with no production. And they will of course be down more than 5 days, and they will of course not just jump straight up to 7,000 units a week after they started the new production lines. This will take some time, so this will no doubt make Tesla sales fall everywhere on a global scale. We could see Tesla fall 200 or maybe even 250,000 because of the Model Y alone. Because we did also see Tesla's Model 3 drop in sales in the US, the most of any models in 2024, because that was when the refreshed Model 3 in the US started in January 2024. So when Tesla does this on a vehicle that sells more than twice the amount of the Model 3, you can bet that the drop is going to be even bigger. So when we hear 45% drop in sales in Europe, it does sound bad. And that is the whole point of these headlines, right? But looking at the numbers and knowing that the Berlin alone that has a capacity of over 375,000 units, 5 days downtime would mean something like 35,000 units down. So how much is 45% in 1 month like January actually in unit sales? Because it sounds like a lot, right? Well, Tesla sold 8,216 fewer units in January year over year. 8,000 units. That's it. These are amazing numbers if you ask me. I would expect that Tesla would be down even more than that. That is not even 2 days in production units in the Berlin factory they're down. That is not a lot. That is not much more than 2% of the cars they sold in Europe in 2024 they're down. But it of course looks extra bad here in Europe because they are doing it at the same time that the legacy automakers are forced to deliver more EVs to customers to not get fines. So EVs are surging in Europe, which is nice, but when Tesla is dropping 55%, it looks like Tesla is doomed. But I will show in a moment how that is not true. It's almost laughable, but I'll get back to that in a second. So it's like people don't care much about the facts. Sure, there might be a few people that don't want to buy a Tesla because of Elon Musk politics. Sure, but you also find people that will like to buy a Tesla because of Elon's politics or because he's fighting for freedom of speech. You see this all the time on X. You just don't see it on the mainstream media. And I have been doing this for 6 years, and there has always been people in the comments talking about how they would never buy a Tesla because of Elon Musk. So this is nothing new and not the whole story, not even close, like Jeff also so nicely pointed out on X, as he is an expert in supply chain, so he does actually understand what Tesla is going through right now. And as he wrote, I will gladly explain supply chain one-on-one to any media publication that choose to print FUD versus actual consult industry expert. Notice none of them actually talk to anyone in their article that knows anything. You cannot look at a 30-day sales window and draw analyzed comparison without comparing all of the other factors like beginning hand-on inventory for one, days of sales to stock out percentage, and other factors. There are typically multiple reasons for sales movement up or down, yet the media just want to FUD about Elon and ignoring basic supply chain and physics of taking inventory down to stock out level to clear a channel for the replacement product, the old Model Y to the new Model Y. The media did the same thing for different reasons about Q1 386,000 sales last year with the Red Sea attacks. Some people explained clearly what was happening and they would make it all up in Q2, and they did. They chose to ignore the basic facts and just thought about demand, as we have seen through all the years. According to mainstream media, Tesla has had demand problem forever. And anyone looking at this objectively that understand basic supply chain will tell you you cannot sell products you don't have. Exactly. But all of that being said, it's not like Tesla doesn't sell any cars anymore in Europe, as the mainstream media would like you to think, as Tesla is so far ahead. Even though they're down 45% in Europe, they are still the second best-selling BEV brand of anyone in Europe, only beaten by the Volkswagen brand. And the Model Y, despite Tesla slashing inventory to near zero by January to get ready for the refreshed Model Y, so like Jeff said, Tesla took their inventory to stock out levels, the Tesla Model Y is still the best-selling EV in Europe in January 2025. So if Tesla is doing badly and nobody wants to buy their EVs anymore, well, everyone is doing badly, as there is no other model on the market doing better in Europe than the Tesla Model Y. And that is the old Model Y, even with the Osborne effect of the new Model Y, which was revealed on January the 10th. So even though Tesla is down 45% and the BEV market is up over 50% in Europe, that can only mean Tesla is doomed in Europe. Well, despite all of that, Tesla still has the best-selling model here. So for all the fools that spread FUD about how no one in Europe wants to buy Teslas anymore, you are clearly dead wrong. Tesla has only lost about 8,000 units in sales in January, which I find very impressive. I would have thought that would have been much higher. But maybe we will see some bigger drop in February, as the new refreshed Model Y has only just started deliveries. So I think the bad news about Tesla sales in Europe will continue in March about February's number, and probably even in April with March numbers, as they are ramping up production, and then in Q2 we should see them getting back to normal levels. Because the Model Y is just so much in front. Even Tesla slashing inventory to nearly zero by January was not enough for anyone to overtake them. But they might be able to do that in February, because in 2024 Tesla's Model Y did sell 178,000 units, and the closest non-Tesla EV sold only 67,000 units. So even cutting Tesla sales in half for the whole year will not be enough for anyone to catch up. So we might see some models overtaking the Model Y in February and maybe even be neck and neck in March. But when we venture into Q2 of 2025, I have no doubt that the Model Y will once again sit on the top spot. It is just too good of a product for an insane value for money. But let's see how many mainstream media will report on Tesla sales when it starts to go the other way again, and see Tesla growing with hundreds of % in March or April, month over month. Probably no one. So I really hope this gives you a good idea of what is actually going on. So yes, Tesla is down, but there is a reason for this. And no, it is not only Elon Musk politics. The biggest factor is the retooling of the production line of the world's best-selling car. And that they only are down 8,000 units, I actually find quite remarkable. And Tesla is still doing better than basically everyone else. So if Tesla is doomed, I guess the whole market is doomed. But that is not the case either. BEVs are growing very nicely here in 2025, as I predicted, because now the legacy automakers actually want to sell some EVs again, because they are forced to. So as always, don't listen to all the thought being spread by other people. Do your own research to form your own opinions, because most of the time people don't have all the facts, or don't even want to share all the facts because it works against their agenda. So don't take my word for it either. Go look at the numbers yourself, and you will probably find, just as I did, that Tesla is not doomed in Europe, but is actually performing better than I thought. And Model Y is still the king in Europe. And now the deliveries of the new refreshed Model Y begins. So good luck to everyone else. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.